Hello, you're listening to the Charles Bonnet Syndrome podcast. My name is Shaimond, and today's special guest is Frank Hill Sr. He has CBS, and he'll be discussing his experiences with this condition. So how you doing today, Frank?
I'm doing good.
Oh, that's great. I'm doing well, too. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Okay.
So I'd like to ask you, what is your eye condition that you have, and how long have you had it?
I say about 6 years. I had glaucoma.
Okay, 6 years glaucoma. So when did you first start experiencing some of the CBS visions or hallucinations?
uh, about 6 years ago.
Okay, it happened pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
And and what did you think when you first started experiencing that? Because like most people, you probably didn't know what CBS was initially and maybe were thinking it was something else. What were your thoughts when you first started experiencing that?
I didn't know what it was, what was going on, and why these, I call them spirit people.
Okay. And what were some things that you were experiencing and that you were seeing early on when it first started happening?
Oh, they was in my food. They was everywhere. Everywhere. They was in my toilet. They in my bed, next to me, sleeping with me. They tried to kill me a few times, tied my hand behind my back, and tried to pull me up, but they couldn't do it because of my God, Jehovah Witness, and Jesus. They wouldn't let them do it. So they put cars in the way, and they pulled all the cars. I guess they had to balance it out in order to pull me up and drop me. And they were going to drag me down the street, they said. So that didn't work out for them. They thought that I was king. They tried to torture me with a torture for about 3 hours. And they thought I was dead. But I was, you know, again, you know, Jehovah and Jesus helped me out.
So you're a man of faith. And I've spoken to other people who have faith in God, and they definitely believe that God is protecting them, and that is a part of faith. So I'm glad that you're tapping into God and Jesus and Jehovah to help get you through, because that's one part of faith, knowing that God will definitely help. And everybody has a different experience, a different expression, sometimes different religions. And I'm glad that you're able to tap into that.
It was an everyday thing. Well, it still is an everyday thing. What he does, my God, what they do is spray them with water. They all over the house. They everywhere. Everywhere I go, can't drive, but they try to drive. Where my wife is driving. They can change your head to their head. I look over them and my wife look like somebody else.
That's good that you will spray them with some water, because I've spoken to people who have some experience with Charles Bonnet Syndrome and people that had the condition themselves. And they say that if you are going to do something, you should spray water, because if you spray a chemical, you can mess up your furniture or you can hurt someone, like bleach or something like that. That can be harsh. And there's really no harm in spraying some water in a spray bottle. And sometimes I hear people say when they spray them, they disappear.
Yeah.
So when you spray them, do they disappear?
Yeah, but they come back.
If I go back a little bit to the beginning when this first started happening, was it gradual? Like maybe you saw one guy or one character in the corner, and then maybe after a couple of days or weeks, you started seeing multiple people and multiple things? Or was it something that just came on all of a sudden and you just started seeing groups of people and you started seeing all of these things all at once?
Start seeing them all at once. I mean, it was, like I said, it was everywhere. Everywhere I go, they had my food. I got stopped eating for a week, and I couldn't get 'em, out of my food. But like I said, my God, He helped me get them out. 'Cause everywhere I go, I try to eat. different nuggets, so to speak. I can just put it in my mouth. But they can get it, and when they know that I'm not gonna eat it, they'll get it out the trash. So it's like a dinner for them.
Does this tend to happen consistently? It sounds like it. Or does this mainly happen at night when you're relaxing or resting, the CBS visions?
No, it's happened right there in front of your eyes. They can come under the table and get whatever they want to get. And sometimes they try to put it back, but I don't take it because I don't know where their hands been.
It seems like when I speak to people, I want to say maybe 60 to 70% of people, it's when they're resting or at night. But some people, it is all day. And it seems like for you, it's a continuous thing. Have there been any things that have helped you maybe have less visions or hallucinations that you try, like techniques or anything?
Well, when I found out that they really couldn't hurt me or harm me, I was, relieved for that. But they was always in my face, always. But wherever I go, they was there. So they in everybody's house. Everybody got them. And I got out. It's different than anybody else. They think I'm their king. And my eyes turn orange and it spins. My eyes spin. They can see me about a half a block away. See, see me coming. And they think I'm their king. I guess, because they couldn't kill me.
So they never hurt you. They've tried, but it was not successful.
Right. They'll make you hurt yourself. They'll make you swing at them. And then you don't do no good. And one time I tried to swing at them, and the field hit my head. You know.
Oh, wow.
So now they'll make you hurt yourself if you don't deal with them right. And like I said, they believe that they was here before we was. This is their earth. This is their home. And they in everybody's house. I go out of town. They there. They don't follow me. There's some that be there. They everywhere. Yeah, everybody
Okay.
together. And they won't harm me. They just knew some. They just in the way.
That's good that they don't harm you and that you know that they can't harm you. But to have something like this consistently happening, I'm sure this is very frustrating, annoying. Sometimes, depending on what you're seeing, it can be maybe even scary or it can make you angry. And I commend you for being just getting through this. I mean, one day at a time, one step at a time, keep putting one foot in front of the other and just trying to realize, first of all, that it is CBS, realize that they are not able to hurt you. And also have your faith because it doesn't matter what you're going through in life, faith can be very important. So I understand that sometimes you can have other senses or things that accompany the visions. Like, is it true that sometimes they're auditory or maybe you feel them touching on you or anything like that?
Yeah, they touch me to see if I'm like them, cause they different. So yeah, they have touched me or try to touch me to see if I'm like them. But I'm supposed to be their God, their king. I mean, so they ain't ready to figure it out because I don't go out. Where they at? They around the house, but I don't talk to them or anytime
And do you hear them sometimes too? Do they say things to you or to each other?
to each other, not to me. I can read their lip on something. But film, no English. So I can read their lip, see what they saying to each other.
Some people in the medical community call that CBS plus because CBS primarily is a visual hallucinations. But some people, I've spoken to numerous people, easily a dozen people, if not more, that have also heard them or felt them. There's definitely some more research that needs to be done to realize, is there other aspects to CBS, or maybe some of the anxiety or the frustration that accompanies CBS can cause some other types of senses to be felt or heard. But I commend you for saying that, because there's other people, I'm sure, that can identify with you and they wonder, hey, what's going on here? So thanks for just being honest and saying that. When you feel them touch you, does it hurt? Is it like a lot of pressure, or is it more like a light touch that you feel?
It's like a light touch. They sit down and watch TV next to me. When I'm eating, they like shit out. The only thing that bothers me, they get my food or they take my food. Go under the table, get my food, mess with my food. That's the only thing that's really frustrating me. But as far as harming me, they don't bother me. Because I know I got Jehovah and Jesus is with me.
So, what are some things that you do that help you cope with all of these things that are going on now in your life?
Some things that I do, it was nothing really I can do, but like they say, you can't beat them, you join them. So I don't let it bother me. When they sitting beside me, I can look at them and they'll move. But it used to bother me that they just hit everywhere on the wall. But when they get sprayed, they gone and then they come back. It's just an everyday thing. They just there.
So, with CBS, they call it simple hallucinations, and that's when you see colors and patterns. And then they call it complex when you see animals and people and landscapes. It sounds like you have complex, obviously, because you see people and things, but do you also have the simple hallucinations too? Like if you look at a wall, do you see colors or patterns and things around also?
It can change into everything: a dog, bug, spiders, snake. But the snakes, I used to think they was real because they look real, but they're not real. It's there inside something that looked like a snake. They used to be in the grass. They just tried to frustrate me. To me, right now, they just people that's in a different world. They just knew something. You know, they like I open my eyes, I be sleeping. They there. I'm in the bed. They next to me. I be thinking it's my wife, but they change heads. They like to do that. You know, put their head on your head.
So if you were to visit like a relative and go to, let's say, another house or another city, I know you said sometimes they join you. Is it just as many things that you see over there that you do at your house, or is it more things you see at your own house?
Well, it's more in my house. I mean, it's hundreds of them. They have meetings around the house. They get together and they do things. When I go out of town, they're, like I said, they're in everybody's house. Everybody gather. And I can still, my eyes can see who they are. And they just like people. They try to be like people. And they're just a person that you can't touch. Your hand go right through 'em.
So when you touch them and your hand goes right through them, do they usually disappear at that moment, or do they stick around?
Well, they used to think that you could do something to them, but once they find out that you can't touch, I mean, you can't do nothing to them, they just stay right there. Like I be trying to watch a football game or something, and they right there with me, and I swing at them. Sometimes they'll move, sometimes they won't. Mostly when I stare at them, they move.
Have you ever tried ignoring them? I know that's easier said than done. And if so, has that helped, or what happened?
But I try to ignore them. You can't ignore them because they're there. I mean, it's like I said, in my case, it's hundreds of them, and they think that I'm their king. They tried to give me a crown, but my God wouldn't let him. When they put it on my head, make it fall off. It never would stay on the head. But they still think I'm their king because of my eyes. Like I said, and I'm the only one can see it. And they the only ones can see it. So when I look at them, it does something to them and they move out the way. When I have company, they show out. They do all kind of stuff. I don't know if they're trying to make me mad or what, but they rub on their legs and do all kind of stuff.
Well, I commend you for still having company and still working together with your wife and with your family and going out and doing things, because some people, when they start experiencing these things, and also with just having a visual impairment, sometimes they don't want to get out and do things as much. It can be frustrating to have company and see people feeling on their legs and stuff. The one thing that could be maybe comforting is to know that if your wife is there and she doesn't see it, then maybe it's one of the CBS hallucinations, or if your company's not speaking up or saying anything about it, maybe that can let you say, okay, that's one of those CBS. When when you see them, are they crystal clear? Because I've heard some people say with CBS, they're really clear
Yeah,
when you see them.
yeah, but I always think that's because of my see them. They light up like a light bulb to me. But other people I can't see. I can't see the features of their face. I can see their body. I know they're there or their voice. I, I can tell by their voice who they are.
Some people with CBS have a checklist that they go through. They say, oh, wow, I'm seeing a cow in my living room. And then they say, how likely is it that a cow is in my room? And then they say, also, is the cow crystal clear? Well, they say they have glaucoma or they have cataracts or they have some other disease, macular degeneration. And they say, well, I can't see much of anything anymore. My vision is very low. So if I'm seeing something crystal clear, it has to be CBS. But I've also heard people say that no matter how many times you hear that, when you're in the moment and it happens right in front of you, suddenly it's jarring and it can be hard to remember all of those things. Do you have a checklist or something that you do to say, okay, here's another one of those guys or girls that you're seeing?
But yeah, I can say it. I usually just look at them. They move. They don't stay still. They just move. And I can tell where they go, where they move to. And they used to drive with me all the time. I was driving. I don't drive no more. I can't drive.
I'm sure some people can identify with your story and with the things that you're saying. And that's one of the things that I hope this podcast does, is to just, it's like a way to be able to hear different stories and different experiences so people realize that there are some commonalities with CBS, and actually a lot of them, even though each person with CBS is a little bit different, but it's good just to hear the stories. So if there was a doctor that was listening to this or a researcher, is there anything that you would want to say to them?
I know it's nothing else they can do. Only Jehovah and Jesus can help me.
That's one of the things that is so frustrating for CBS, that there's no pill that you can take. There's no guaranteed treatment or thing that you can do that will actually stop the hallucinations. And that's difficult for most people to deal with. There are a few people, probably, I don't want to put a percentage on it because I don't want to be inaccurate, but there are some people, once they realize that they don't have dementia, that they are mentally sound, and that it is because of their visual impairment, and there is a thing called Charles Bonnet Syndrome, there are a certain amount of people that are able to deal with it. I've heard one person say on one support group that I was on, I'll never forget this ever. He said everybody was going around saying what they were seeing. And he said, you name it, I've seen it, but it doesn't bother me because I know it's not real. And I said, wow, how could you get to that place? Now, everybody has a different personality. Everybody has a different outlook. Everybody has a different support system. And I said, man, because the way he said it is he's seen a lot. But for him, it didn't bother him. But for most people, that's not the case. I commend you for being able to keep going on, because you're not giving up. You're still living life. I know maybe it's not the way you imagine or it's not the way you want it to be right now, but who knows? There may be a cure coming around the corner. There may be some techniques or things that you or your family can do to help you with this. But I know I said a lot, but I just wanted to to share that and just say that I definitely commend you for continuing on and sharing your story.
I feel a lot better that they can't do that to.
So if there's someone that's listening to this and they have CBS and they're having a difficult time, maybe they just found out about the condition and this is their first podcast episode that they're listening to, what would you want to say to them that can maybe hopefully encourage them or help them?
Get into the Bible. We're talking about different things like that will help them. Have a study of the Bible. As long as you know that God is protecting you, you'll be all right. You can live a normal life with Him. And they still get on my nerves, not to the point to where I'm going to get really upset. It's just that they're around. You can't get rid of them. And it's like taking thousands of them. I mean, they can go small, they can go big. They can go 7 feet. They can change to a dog. They can do a lot of stuff. But like I said, right now, they think I'm their king. They bow when they see me, they bow.
It could be worse. They could be trying to fight you and shoot things at you. And I've heard all sorts of stories of dragons and spitting fire and stuff. So the
Yeah,
fact that they have reverence for you or they believe that you're the king or something is, I think, better than being the other way around where they're just constantly trying to harm you. Either way it goes, it's annoying, but it
right.
could definitely be a worse situation.
Yeah, but like I said, they not harm you, but they can make you hurt yourself. If you're trying to fight them or swing at them, end up injuring yourself or worrying. You know, if you think they can harm you, you're gonna worry about it because they're gonna be there. You can't get around it. So it's like you say, you gotta tell yourself that they can't harm you. They just there.
I really appreciate you saying that because that can help someone to realize that they can't harm you, because it's one thing to talk about CBS and you don't have it, and another thing to actually have it like yourself and to just be able to tell people as a reminder that they can't harm you. They may annoy you, they may frustrate you, but they can't harm you. And that doesn't always make it easier in the moment when you're seeing these things that you don't want to see, but it can be a way to help comfort someone that regardless of what I'm seeing, they're not going to be able to harm me. So thanks for realizing that and sharing that.
And you have to be careful with the medicine they give you. It might help you one way and hurt you another way. That's what was happening with me.
As far as some medicine, it's definitely best to listen to your doctor and do what your doctor says to do. And then if you're talking with your doctor and you feel like something's not right, maybe seek another doctor. And it doesn't matter what the condition is, even if it's not CBS, sometimes talking to your doctor about what's going on, they may change your medicine to something else, or they may try medicine as well as some kind of other therapy. So we
But
definitely want people to follow their doctors and speak up if something is bothering you or something, or there's a side effect. But I appreciate you sharing because that's a part of it also. I
and,
just wanted to make sure that I use that disclaimer to let people know, still follow your doctors and keep asking questions. And even if you have to get a second opinion, definitely.
and most of the doctors don't know about it. These doctors, they really don't understand.
And then they don't have a pill that is specifically made for CBS. So that makes it harder to try. But I can understand because I've heard some professionals, whether they're medical professionals or psychologists or therapists, they say if someone is having a lot of anxiety or their quality of life is diminishing, we may have to try something to treat what accompanies CBS. Even though it doesn't treat CBS, they may do that. But that's something that definitely a medical doctor is going to have to do. But I think one thing we can do is we can educate the doctors. We can share pamphlets. They have pamphlets for Mary Carmel's Light has printouts on their website. Dr. Gary Cusick has printouts. And also Esme's Umbrella in the UK. She was the first person that I know, who Judith Potts, who runs that organization, that actually had printouts. Because then when they know about it, they can start to have some more compassion and try to figure out what could work. And sometimes what could work is not traditional. Maybe you have to have talk therapy. Maybe you have to have do some other types of things. But definitely that's something that can start, because you said a lot of doctors don't know about it, and they can't know about it if we don't bring it to their attention.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your time. Is there anything in closing that you would like to say to the listeners that you may have not said yet?
You can't harm. It's one thing you can think about. Can they harm you? They can't harm you. They're going to be there because they're everywhere. It's just like this their world. So you got to deal with it. They going to, like I say, they think it's their play, their food. And do what they want to do, what they can do.
I think that's very helpful to hear you close it on that note, just mentioning that they can't harm you and they're going to be there for now until there's some kind of a cure and until there's some kind of a intervention. Seems to be like your attitude about it is the only thing that you can change for right now. And knowing that they can't harm you is really helpful, because some people come up with stories and say they're out to get me, or they want to take advantage of me, or they're trying to harass me. And really, they're not. It's just because your eyesight is diminishing and your brain is firing up those images. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, have a great day. And this has been great to meet you and to hear you share your story, and keep on fighting the fight. And I know you're going to be all right one day at a time. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe and rate the podcast. It makes a difference. And if you would like to contact me, you can email me at info@cbsyndromepodcast.com.